Hello everybody, my name is Suede, and welcome to a cast of a modern CTON multiplayer game. It has been a bit, I'm happy to be back. Yeah, and I've got a treat for you today. So, this is a modern CTON, so modern is a special mod we play for multiplayer. It's like fully decked out with changes. It doesn't really resemble the base game a lot. It treats the game of Civ 3 as more of a toolbox of cool stuff to use rather than a Bible or anything like that. Yeah, so this is a CTON. CTON is a special variant. It's kind of like free-for-all, but it means there's no diplomacy, no talking. You might see some banter in the corner, but we're technically not allowed to talk about anything related to the game unless it's needed to clear up bugs or something like that. Yeah, so no diplomacy, no making teams, no let's gang up on this guy. Everybody is for themselves, and I spawned with this terrible, terrible land here, so let's see how I do. So, I'm playing as Brazil. All the civs are the same. In Modern, they're all expansionist and religious. And I go into anarchy, of course. There's 4 different governments in Modern, and right now I get to choose which one do I think is going to be the best for me. So right now, at this very moment while I'm playing the game, I'm thinking that Order is the best government. Order has the fastest workers. You see I've got a lot of marsh, a lot of jungle, a lot of hills, a lot of mountains right here. So I'm thinking that I'll need the fast worker moves here. I'm also going to be in like a 1v1 against Loveburger here. Loveburger is not an insanely good player, but I still have to pay respect to him. Otherwise, I can't like carry too hard with someone right uh, at my doorstep. Okay. So yeah, again, banter in the top left corner. But I have to try to figure things out here. So one thing that concerns me, my cap is fine, right? I've got the Oasis, I've got the tobacco. Oasis will give me food. The tobacco is like good for commerce and shields, and I do get the uranium on expand. The uranium is a really good tile. I think that's +2 shields from the uranium itself. So like 4 shields in wartime. It's really good. So yeah, my cap is fine, but I just don't see any places with bonus food right here. Like there's the floodplains, so if I really just need food, strictly food, that would be fine. Um, but there's not even any BGs or anything. I got the gems. Gems in modern are 2 production, so they're okay. And there's a forest, but it's not very good at all. So right now, what I'm hoping for is that like in the jungle or the marsh south and southwest of my capital, next turn I'm going to be able to find a deer or a sugar. These are very high food tiles. Modern's balanced that way such that the worst land types have the best bonus tiles. So 1 deer or 1 sugar turns a bad city into a completely good city. So if we're lucky, we're going to be able to find one. We'll be able to scout with our explorer next turn, but we don't know just yet. So we walked our settler west. Right now, I'm thinking worst case scenario, I can just go west of the tobacco and just plant there. That would be it'd be an okay city. It's playable. Like I'm 2 tiles in land. No one's gonna be able to like boat me or anything super early. So even if it's a little slow, I'm thinking this is okay. Another option I have, of course, is to play quality, and I can airdrop my second city if I do that. Quality gets, of course, 2 shield airports. It can build airports in 1 turn in any city. So, and you can airdrop your settlers. I told you it was a crazy mod. Yeah. So the intention with equality was that initially we wanted it to be so that if you have bad land, you could just fuck off. Right? There's communal corruption too. So if you plant like 10 tiles away, you can airdrop 10 tiles away where there actually is decent land, and everything will be fine. You can reinforce your cities with the airports. You can airdrop more cities where you want them to be. And there's no distance corruption because you're playing with the communism style current communal corruption. Now, I did not find any deer. Of course, you can't plant on marsh even in modern. So there's literally no tile that works for. I even wasted some time going around here even further. I don't find anything there. So at this point, I decided once I saw the layout of the land that I wanted to play equality, that I saw the deer was there, but that there was no way I could get it just by walking to it, that I had to go for the airdrop. So again, equality has the slowest workers. Typically, you want fast workers if you have bad land like this. But there is a style that's being pioneered by players like Halu, he's in this game right now, and Saber, where you actually do play equality with bad land, which was the original intention, so it's nice to see. But yeah, like I see this gorgeous city right here, and I realize I gotta airdrop that bad boy. And to speak of the devil, extremely skilled player, here is Howler right to the north of me. This is a terrible position if you haven't noticed just yet. So we have like a middle tier player and a top tier player, and we are like sandwiched between them on this weird little island. Uh, and the only half decent city is all the way over there. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna airdrop it. Of course, like we do actually have the fish there and the wheat. Like we didn't see those two tiles. Together, what you look for is 5 surplus food because that will give you 1 per turn growth. If you have a granary and you have 5 surplus food, you can grow 1 per turn. So there'd be 3 from the fish, 4 if you have the harbor, but you don't want to have to wait for the harbor, especially if you're doing the granary too, and then 4 once you irrigate the wheat. So that would have been playable. It's just not a very good city because like it has the uranium, but our capital's supposed to have the uranium. So yeah, I don't want to have to do that if I don't have to. So we're gonna go with this. Okay, so we do the airport in our capital. Of course, in equality, almost always you want to get the airport out first. You might notice I went for something kind of weird here, and I will explain myself. So I didn't actually go instantly for the deer. My reasoning was, sorry, that I wanted the airport first before I got the rest of my buildings, and that the airport would take 2 turns if I was going to do the deer anyway. So I might as well take 2 turns for the airport, then slave the library, and then do the granary after that. So I really want the granary or the library for the border expand because then I can get this beach resort tile here. I don't want to have to rely on worker moves in the city because I know Love is right there. He's going to be up my ass. I don't want to have to deal with that. I'm just going to make it a city that has no worker moves whatsoever so he can't bomb me. I don't have to guard any tiles. I can just let it be. Yeah, and so here it is. Now, so this does going to be the beach resort on the expand here too. So it makes it a significantly better city. The downside here is that I didn't realize this at the time, but he can actually boat. Like in 1 turn, he could boat over to this second city of mine. So I really have to watch out for that. Ideally, like I'd have my kingman nearby, and I could place it on the mountain west of this second city I'm about to plant, and that would stop him from landing that tile. But my king's all the way scouting Hallow. Like my scouting this game was really like locked by like trying to find good cities, and then I have to scout Love here. Yeah, it's not what I want it to be. Okay, and speaking of things I don't want to happen, I just realized I kind of fucked up my capital too. So typically this is not an issue you run into, so I didn't really remember to account for it. But I actually do not have a 2 food tile. Normally, like you have a grassland or a floodplains or just something. Usually a bonus tile, even a lake, a freaking lake would do the trick. But yeah, like I have the 4 food from the Oasis, 3 from the tobacco once they're irrigated. So that's 5 surplus food. I have 1 per turn growth, but then I fucked it up by not having a 2 food tile here. So I realized I'm not going to grow anyway. This is one thing I'm trying to teach the crop of new players we've been getting lately is like, if you fuck up, take it like the Bob Ross way. There's no fuck ups. There's only happy little accidents. So my reasoning is this only wasted 1 shield. This is a clean slave right here. If you fuck up and you like overbuild something, see if you can get something better. Now I don't want the unit, because it would just be, I guess it could be defensive, but that doesn't seem very worth it. I could get artillery, but I don't really want artillery here. There's no way I'm going to be planting his cap. And so the artillery would just be defensively too. So I decided I'm going to start working on a factory. Now, factory was not something I planned to do here, both because my land is pretty bad, and because I have uranium. So uranium gives Marines, I know that makes no sense, but it's modern. Marines are 25 shields, and so even without the factory, I can 1 per turn Marines here in my cap pretty easily. So I didn't think I needed a factory, but again, like I said, the happy little accidents, because that's just the way things worked out, that like I had fucked my growth anyway, so like the slave was pretty much free. Typically when you slave, it costs you a little bit of happiness and then 1 population, which is a pretty big deal. Here I would have lost the population anyway, so that's why I'm saying the slave was free. Sorry, the hurry production was free. I still have the happiness, but the population itself didn't cost me. And now like I've caught up on worker moves. My capital has all the worker moves it needs. But yeah, so yeah, now I guess I'm doing factory. I'm locked into this. Like I said, happy little accidents. We just need to watch out for Love. So the one thing I don't like about this build here that I had to go for, I didn't have to, I guess, but I chose to go for, is that it doesn't have flexibility. So if I did like library or barracks and cap, I could switch to militia. I could even slave militia if I needed it in a hurry. Like if I saw Loveburger, like Loveburger, if he's playing well, he probably does not want to. Like, he could technically slave a galleon and slave a militia or slave a partisan. But then if I just like put a unit or 2 units or even like 1 unit in my king, that would cover against that. So that would just fuck both of us if he made me do that. And I don't want that to happen. That's why I'm watching like a cock right now. Yeah, like ideally, like I'd be doing something more flexible in my cap. Right now, I have like what, like 40 shields in the box. If I switch to partisan, that's a 20 shield waste, and it's only going to get worse the more shields I get in my cap. Um, so yeah, I don't like the non-flexibility here, but it is nice to get your factory. The timing kind of works out too here too, because I did want to do library and granary in Sao Paulo. So the way this will work out is like by the time I finish the factory, I'll have both of those buildings more or less. And there's not like an awkward period where like I want to be in wartime in my cap, but I don't want to be in wartime in Sao Paulo. Okay, notice how I skipped the road on that plains tile here. That is crucial so that I can irrigate. I see that barb coming up on me, and I'm a little concerned about it. Now that I look at the situation, I can see the barb will path onto the mountain. It will path onto the high defense tile. It gets baited southeast by the worker. But love actually comes up on me. I was really worried about this right now because it's like, shit, if he's just going to sit there, that stops me from protecting my worker with my king next turn. Because I would like to go through the road through like my capital over the tobacco to guard the worker. But I can't do that if his explorer is in the way. We'll see if he does that. Yeah, our capital, we're watching him. He's a size ahead of us. Remember, we had like standard growth in our cap. He had standard growth in his cap. We did lose the one population from the slaving, so he is a population ahead of us. So he'll be able to draft next turn. At size 7 in Civ 3, including in Modern, you can draft. He will get a free unit, but we don't say boat. Now we go check Alexandria, there's no boat. Okay. So unless he like put the boat in the water already, we should be okay. At the very worst case scenario, like next turn, if he built a boat, then we would be able to draft in our cap and we'd be able to slave a militia in Sao Paulo. It wouldn't be great. We do want that granary in Sao Paulo. Um, but yeah. Okay, so the tile I want to work is the one east of my cap because if I irrigate and road that one, that gives me the uranium, and I want the uranium for Marines because I actually have the tech for Marines right now. That is the only resource I have, the only strategic resource I have. So I'm gonna try to make plays with it. It's kind of awkward because I have to. I don't want to like. Generally, like if you're in a 1v1 especially, but also like a 2v1 like this, you don't want to commit units outside your home island. Yeah, so here I get fucking baited. You see that? Like I see the tile open. I was like waiting till end of turn, and I'm like, oh, I got him, and then he blocks me. So again, happy little accidents. Just do the best you can. Um, Factory's done. Quality math. I go from having 1 shield per turn. Yeah, the second shield is corrupted, but the third and the fourth are not. And then you get the multiplier from the airport. Oh, if I didn't mention the reason people play equality, one of the big factors is you just get from the airports plus 25% production in all your cities. Insane bonus right there. Yeah, it looks like it won't finish, but we're going to grow, and then we get the shields from the forest, and then also the shields from our city center is actually planted on a plains tile. That made a difference here. Like we just barely had enough shields to get the factory next turn. So yeah, like because I messed up that worker move and I moved onto the forest, that's not a bad tile to be on because I can chop it and I can figure out something to do with it. And at this point, I'm probably debating between do I want to do library or do I want to do barracks? So I have ideology in 4. Aside from ship moves, like Marines, like just the starting text will get you Marines, and I don't have any other resources. So I figure once I have the ship moves tech and ideology for my small wonder, I don't really strictly need any other techs. So I'm wondering, like, do I want to do library at all? Would I rather just get started on barracks? But the thing is, next turn I'm gonna have the granary. I'm just gonna go wartime next turn. So if I don't get it now, I'm not gonna get the library at all. So there's an interesting trade-off here. I think I can't remember what made me make the decision. Yeah, I think I just generally felt comfortable here. I felt okay. And the library does allow me to draft again. Like it puts me a unit behind, but I guess the quality you don't get the commerce bonus in your cap, at least not till you have the small wonder. And you can really fuck yourself on happiness if you're not careful. So yeah, I do decide to go for the library, a bit of a more greedy build, but here will pay off. Okay, at this point, I finally sorted things out with my explorer, right? Like, San Paulo's safe. So I'm going to be able to finally go and scout Halu, see what he has, should I be concerned. Again, you see I'm putting 2 units in Sao Paulo. It's because the city can get boated from 2 sides. Brasilia, no one has 2 moving units at this point, so Brasilia is safe for a little while. Speaking of 2 moving units, we see Loveburger right there grabbing the coal. I've seen his save files. I know he likes to do. Um, at this point, I was like, can I get? Do I have barracks next turn? And I don't. I like because I lost the forest, so I would have had 20 shields if I had the forest, but I don't anymore. So I'm like working out the math in my head. Okay, I need to mine there, irrigate with the other one, and that will get me 20 shields. But I actually do the road first, because that way I can have the uranium as soon as possible. So what do I grab right now? Oh, I grab the settler. Yes, 15 shields per turn. Perfect for a settler. Yeah. São Paulo is a little delayed, so that's okay. Again, getting baited by these explorers here, but I'm safe. Yeah. Sorry, what I was saying about Love's build, I've checked his save files. I know he likes to do Library University, so he's going to be really quick for the munitions tech. Munitions is a relatively early tech that will unlock infantry. Infantries are 482s. They're kind of like a draftable impy of the modern scenario. I debate a few different city spots. I like there's kind of one I don't know if I've noticed at this point, but between the two cities, because I went for Sao Paulo having the more tiles, I can actually give the deer to a new city and like plant one on the river. It's not a great city. It has the deer, it has one forest, and then it has some grassland. That's about it. Unless I like rob some tiles from my cap. So it's not good, but again, all of these cities are fucking garbage. It's just so bad. I could do like an aggro plant onto like that cow, but I don't see what's there. Like there could be barbs there. Love like could literally have an infantry this turn for all we know. I didn't think it was gonna be this early. Because I thought it'd be like a couple turns before, like maybe 1 or 2 more turns before he gets the tech. Um, but yeah. And what I see here is after I get the settler, I can just like quickly. I kind of want to see if he's got infantry coming. Some ideas was if I take the partisan back, um, and he's there. Then I can just guard it with the partisan. I can guard my king with the partisan. So this is interesting. Notice how I don't like. I could go for one that's instantly connected to my capital. It actually gets me the fish immediately. But my read is this: like this is not a food focused city. I'm not going to be doing like a lot of workers and settlers here. I'm just going to let it get capped in growth. And I want to like take up land. I don't want Halu to be planting in my face. Like if Halu like planted on, for example, the hill south of Tobacco or even the Tobacco itself, that would be a disaster for me. Okay, I'm doing the math right now, and I think yes, maybe I do have the barracks next turn, or maybe I do something else first. Oh no, I do the small wonder. Yeah, so the equality small. Yeah, there's the infantry. Yeah, I spot that. Staring my face. Awkward. Do I fix Rio? Oh, I did fix Rio. Yeah, good. Yeah, King's fine. I'm ready if he like goes on me. Kind of prepared for that. So this is a win-win for me and Hallow. Hallow takes my explorer. So he gets a free explorer. Um, and I get a declaration of war, so I get war happiness, which is a pretty big deal. You might think I'm maybe made off better there, but he can just like give that explorer to Loveburger. Like if you just put it like between Cairo and a second city, he has to take it. He can't let you get permanent vision on him. So yeah, here I double check. Yes, I get 5 shields per turn. That gives me worker per turn. The math was a little wonky because the plus 25% from the airport, but it does work out. So yeah, like in a team where that's not the case with what I did with Howler, there's never a situation where both you and the enemy team will win. But because it's a CTON, There's situations where you can make both you and your ally stronger. Sorry, both you and your enemy stronger, and other situations where you both make both of you guys weaker, like the situation like if love all into me earlier there, like I was mentioning. So yeah, he can just like build a boat and go send the explorer somewhere else, get a declaration of war from that, and then we both come up on top. It's also good to be at war with people because like we're locked in wartime, right? So to exit wartime in a teamer, what you would just do is you would use you would just declare war on your teammate and then make peace. In a CTON, that is not an option. If you go into wartime, you are locked in wartime. So, CTON Modern is played with Regicide, that's why we have the king, but it's also played with city elimination. There is, if you lose 4 cities, you die. And if you get points for city captures. So this is to incentivize players to not to just build a billion cities and pump their score as high as possible. To be careful what cities they build, but also go for offensive plays. So Reaver has taken the first blood there. Now I seem to have escaped the start unscathed here. I see the infantry coming down here. So I take to work through my cap. I was a little worried he'd like have a little party, like an insurrection party, but like Trump did in real life, he could not fully commit. And yeah, it just fizzled out, and he wasn't quite prepared. Yeah. So my capital is safe. I'm more worried about my capital because it has the sorry, I'm more worried about my capital here because it has worker tiles, it has the workers invested into it. And now he's got 2 more infantry coming for the second city. I'm actually fine with that. Unless he like infantry are not good on attack into the defensive bombard of partisans. So unless he has some cruise missiles somehow, like I haven't fully scouted the continent, so this is awkward for me because like he could go for explosives, I guess. But he did munitions, so it would be a bit of a way for him. Like I'd have some time, so I'm fine for now. I'd much prefer he goes for that city than for my capital. And there will be like a hilarious situation that involves unravels here. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna try to stand on my tiles. So this is a common thing you do against other players where you like stand on their best tiles and then their city cannot use them. And if you move end of turn, you can actually like fuck their growth or fuck their happiness. Like if you step on a high commerce tile or like bomb a high commerce tile, then that will reduce the commerce they're getting, and everyone uses the luxury slider in multiplayer, of course. You see I'm getting 5 happiness from luxury slider here. You can imagine if someone like stepped on the tobacco, that would cut some of my happiness, and maybe that would make me disorder in some cases. Still, I'm a little feeling pinned down right now. Like I don't know if there's anyone east of me. I want map information. Is there's a target here? Like I still got the Marines. I'm a little hesitant because again, I don't want to commit too much outside of the current continent, but I'm feeling reasonably safe right now. Uh, and if I don't do this now, it might get harder later on. Like maybe someone will get a frigate out. If someone gets a frigate out, that is just so bad for me in terms of like trying to get knowledge about what's east of me and what's south of me. So I'm going for the troop transport now. I decide I want to put, I think 2 Marines is what I go with. Again, feeling safe. Can maybe get some city takes. I can maybe. So right now I'm thinking that Halu probably will at some point get a frigate on get naval prio, like contest me for naval prio. And I can't really fight back against that. Like I can't like get 2 frigates and compete. Because he's got a size 7 second city there. So he can produce naval units faster than I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the south. I'll maybe try to go around. He's also playing equality, so what I'm thinking is maybe he's going to try to airdrop some settlers to the east, and if he does, he's probably going to leave those empty. I know how he plays. He doesn't play especially... he doesn't defend especially well at home. I'm doing Explorer too. I want the Explorer in the boat, also for getting declarations of wars from people. If I didn't mention it, one of the benefits to having people declare war on you is that you, if they die, as people often do in CTONs, then you get an out of war, which is really good. But if you sit at home, you don't fight anyone, you don't explore, you just are stuck in wartime the whole game. Yeah, so now he's swarming me, but Here's a scandal. We are not actually at war, so he cannot block my tiles. We are at peace, and if you're at peace, the enemy does not have the capacity to block your tiles. So yeah, right now I'm completely fine with him just being here. I'd much rather this than if he swarmed my capital. I'm sure that Trump right now is having a press 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 conference at the Four Seasons landscaping business to try to figure out what's going on here. Uh, demanding they stop the food count. But yeah, sadly, this is not going to work out for him. I don't know if he knows this or if he's just doesn't care. Like the other possibility is like he doesn't want to give me war happiness. He wants me to declare war on him. Um, so that's why he's not declaring war on me in any way. He might just not have a like without suiciding unit. He might not have a way to declare war on me. But whatever the case, yeah. But like, yeah, I don't think that would really make sense. Because I would never declare war on him here because that would like fuck all my tiles in Sao Paulo. Like it's the forest, like the forest too is really useful. Like you see, I'm using that right there. I'm getting artillery just in case. I can't remember like what the exact window was right there, but my reasoning was I didn't need the artillery right then, but I might be in a situation real close, real soon if that I do need the artillery. So what I was thinking is maybe he's going to declare war on me. Maybe someone will come up with a boat, either of those, or maybe he'll just send infantry at my cap. So if any of those things happened, my reasoning was I would need artillery, and it sucks to have to like wait for artillery if you really need it, especially if you don't have like an easy way to slave it. Generally, because artillery does not get the wartime bonus, what you want to do is you want to get 10 wartime shields from something else, and then you slave the artillery. But you need 10 shields in the box for that, not too much more, not too much less, or not any less, and you also need a second population. So yeah, like for example, doing artillery in my cap, because it doesn't get the wartime bonus, that would cost me 2 partisans, 2 vet partisans. So like the windows you can see are a little tight. So when you can get the artillery, I think it's a good idea to do that. Okay, a little spooked by Rio right now. You'll see I'm getting out and scouting. I'm not. It seems nice that there's no one southeast of me. It would be nice if there was a target, but this is okay. I did get the small wonder. I'll tell you what the small wonder does for quality. I believe it's 2 or 3 happy faces flat. I think it might be 3. And then you get +1 commerce on each tile. So it's the Colossus effect. You can build in wartime. Excellent small wonder. In fact, the way quality is balanced right now, like your economy is just really fucking shit. If you do not go for this wonder, I kind of have to slow down my scouting with the boat right here. To pick up my explorer. I also really want the ship moves wonder. Like I have the tech for it, but my reasoning is I just do not. I can't spare the units. Like it would cost me 2 partisans in my cap. That's just too much loss of tempo. Not even really tempo. Just like I might find myself in a position where I just get fucked. And it's the start of the game. I'm trying to play safe here. I'm pretty like I do only have the one granary. But I got some cities out pretty early here. I have the border expand in Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is going to be a great city. Yeah, and I have the factory in my cap, factory and library in cap, and the small wonder too. So like I've already like played pretty greedy in a lot of senses. You see here I'm passing the deer to Salvador. So yeah, this is my read right now. Just play for units. Just don't get fucked. Yeah, like I got the boat out too. Like I'm getting map information. I sent units away. Yeah. I've noticed when Love plays against me, especially in CTONs, he plays pretty passively. Like he'll like plant random island cities, but like will not plant in my direction. Here he's honestly playing more aggressively than normally does with all this infantry. So maybe good. Although the infantry play is not really helping him at all. Like it just not really doing much damage to me. It makes me maybe a bit weaker, but it makes him weaker because he could use those units elsewhere. Okay, so now you see why I skipped the ship moves wonder. Even though like I'd really like to be scouting more, my read is I'm getting the essential things, and I want to get cities out. So yeah, if I get that city west of my cap, it prevents. I don't think he's really going to do it, but it would be pretty disastrous if he got a city there. Then he can airlift in artillery. Just really bad for me. Also a little concerned they might double Salvador. But he hasn't attacked yet. We're still not at war, so I'm still getting all those tiles in the southern city. Halu's growing big. At this point, I have to like mentally reassure myself and like try not to get big man syndrome, which is not something I normally deal with. But here, just because of the terrible start, I consider taking this off. But like the barb doesn't usually leave the nest to kill like a naked unit. But he will if there's like another barb that can like go into the camp and like take the place. They just don't like leaving the camp empty, unless it's an attack bait. So yeah, normally I would be like a little apprehensive that Halu, like I'm being like I'm stuck between two people. Halu is a very good player. He's free building in the corner. I don't have full maps on him. I don't know what res he has entirely. So yeah, that would spook me, but I just need to reassure myself I got my factory. I have a really good second city because of the build I went for. I have a bunch of settlers here. I'm probably like you see I'm higher in score than Halu. I'm doing okay here. And at this point, the gears start to turn. I'm like, wait, if I can plant that and he didn't contest this, I can just plant his coal. Because at this point, I'm like thinking of like, oh, how am I going to get the coal? I have to like plant that island as like a leapfrog, and then I have to like boat some workers over because there's like coal on the island. I guess there's also coal there, but there's no way I'm going to get workers there with love up my ass. So instead, I'm like going to go to the island. It looks pretty safe. But wait, I can just plant his coal, right? He colonied it. And that's not actually a declaration of war. But now he gets the border expander. At this point, I'm like, oh shit. Well, so what the option that this opens up is that it does remove the colony. Um, but that means I could actually airdrop on top of the coal if I wanted to. That would be a declaration of war to plant inside someone's land, but for coal, I think that's worth it because if I have coal, I can do infantry, and infantry would just like take all my security concerns away. And of course, I have plenty of shields in my cap because I've got the factory. It's not like I'm short on shields. So yeah, I'd just be able to do them one per turn. That'd be really good. Now I see that's like probably a size 7. My read is that it's probably guarded. I'd rather just go for Halu. At first, I thought there'd be some of Halu's cities on that eastern landmass. I'm kind of relieved that Kia is there because it means that like Halu has some other competitor, some other pressure. So yeah, you see me marching the stack out. The play I'm going to go for is I'm going to try to plant Halu's coal, or sorry, plant Loveburger's coal. That would give me coal. It also takes the coal away from him. And of course, I can just airlift the settler. So again, now you're seeing why I need these units. Ideally, you want to have 2 on hand. Like, I can airlift to reinforce. So Kia spots me here. He cruises my boat, which is fine, but I actually put the Marine back on the boat as it's being cruised. So the Marine's gone, but I got a declaration of war. So that's one of the reasons I sent out the boat. Explorer's still there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use it at this point, but it is there. Yeah, and that gives me a bunch of happiness. After I slaved the boat in Sao Paulo. I slaved 2 buildings. The buildings give happiness, but I also slaved what else did I slave? The artillery. So there was a point where like I had to raise my happiness just to fix Sao Paulo. At this point, I can probably lower the happiness. I've 2 declarations of war. Yeah, so it should be okay. And once I get the harbor, like I get all the commerce from the sea, and commerce, of course, through the luxury slider is funneled into happiness. So that would fix all my happiness problems there. I think here, like, I don't really know what to do with Rio. I want the border expand just for vision and for the fish, for the tobacco, for the BG. Again, I'm kind of low on tiles in Rio. I don't have a ton of workers. I could have gone for more workers in Sao Paulo, I guess. So here, like, I'm debating, like, do I want to airdrop after I move the units in, or do I want to airdrop the same? I was going to try to, like, airdrop onto the coal end of turn. But then, like, the settler would be naked for a second there. So it's a really risky play, but the payoff is high. because it gets me the city a turn earlier. And once I have the city, I can like get the airport and like airlift units in if he starts to attack it. Right now, there's the danger that he could just like attack my stack, but it doesn't look like he has the units on hand for that. Now he pillages his own coal at this point, which fair. Like I'm gonna plant it. They're talking about movement speed here. Great. Sao Paulo is a great city with the harbor. I'm going to get the offshore platform too. This was the plan all along in the long run. That it doesn't need like you see, I'm not using any worker tiles. This is the Saber Hallow build where it's like the downside of the quality is the slow workers, and that you're really fucked if you get pillaged because it takes forever to clean it up. But their strategy is just I don't know why I wasn't using that before. Well, if you don't improve any tiles, they can't pillage your tiles. They can't crater your tiles. So no big deal at all. Typically, you wouldn't want to like have a city unroaded like this, but you got airports, right? So you can reinforce if you need. Okay, I see that city pop up from DZ. This is like really, really early for him to have a city there. We'll see after the game, but yeah, you can see. We'll see why that was confusing for me. But yeah, like I noticed a new city. I believe I do. We'll see if I can see that yet. But I saw like the faint outline of a light green player. So I'm like, oh, I can go for another marine boat. Okay, I wanted the troop transport to be done this turn or the next turn, but then I was one shield off. I was really like groaning when this happened. I was like, oh my god, like hate when that happens. It's like if I knew this would have taken an extra turn, I would have just slaved it. But sadly, we're gonna have to wait the 2 turns. That's okay though. Again, we're trying to play this slow. So right now we are actually in second, unless I'm mistaken. Right now we're in second place just because we've been able to grow so much and get these border expands. Okay, artillery is just sitting here doing nothing, but trust me, we will use it eventually. Of course, we can't. We would like to be using artillery on his units in our land, but that would be a declaration of war. And I don't know if he's realized this yet or not, but we are still not at war. It actually would have been a declaration of war for him to pillage the coal if he had waited till I planted it, but he didn't yet. So at this point, I see his battalion, and I'm like, oh shit, so you need oil for battalions? So I'm like, if he has oil, he could be doing bombers. But the three things that uranium does, they give on its own, it gives nuke subs, it gives rad marines, so some Fallout 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Marines, very irradiated from uranium, and it also gives fighters. Do not ask why. It's for the purposes of balance. Because it turns out, like in the base game, if you just have everything require oil and aluminum, it's really, really not fun if you don't have oil and aluminum. Here, I'm able to actually play the game without those two resources. So yeah, a little trick right here. Go for the police officer. I think maybe at this point I finally realized I can. I think my read might be. I have all the tech I need right now because I don't have any resources. Um, so I just don't care. Because like you can't really spend gold as a quality. Like in a team game, you'd plastic your team, but again, you're not a gold rushing civ. In as a quality, you're a slaving civ, a pop rushing civ. So yeah, my read might just be I don't fucking care. It does give me score to be pumping the happiness more than I do. I'm trying to like wall him off because like if he like actually walks into my land, then I have to declare war to get rid of him, and I don't want to have to do that. At a certain point, I think like at this point now, it becomes the case that like I could just it wouldn't be that much of a disaster in Sao Paulo if he did. Sorry, the reason I want fighters is because I think he might have oil, and then he could bomb me. Um, Reaver just absolutely farming Avo right now. But funnily enough, I actually never set these fighters to intercept. I guess he didn't go for the explosives tech. But I would have had the fighters on hand. At this point, I'm saying like, oh, the recon's more valuable. The recon is quite valuable. Good information. I recon Northern City. I see that he has iron here. So right now he does not have coal. I took away the coal, which is actually a component in subcruise. So that's a good thing because like cruise missiles is the one thing that Love could have that would really tick me off. Like it pissed me off if he started like bombing my cap. That'd be bad. But because I have the factory, like I have more production than I actually need. Oh shit, my king is naked. What did I do? Put the infantry there, stopgap measure. Yeah, pull this guy over. Okay, that's fine. And move the king because I don't want him to know where my king is. But yeah, like it would suck if he started bombing me, but it'd be fine. Oh, so there, Kia, this paid off. So I got out of Kia's way. He like I saw his boat back there, right? So I was concerned he might boat me. He went for Halu, and now he took Halu's second city. Let's see what he does from there. It looked like he has more skirmish. Yeah, he had more skirmishes in his cap. And that's a kill. He killed Halu's king. Don't know if Halu gave his king, but if he did, it was off screen. I think Kia had a bunch more skirmishers, though. Now, if I reinforced here, I would have had the capacity to defend against that, but that does actually give me an out of war. Like I said, these declarations of war are quite valuable. People will just randomly die in CTONs. So yeah, just like get whatever you can. Doesn't really matter what. I think I forgot afterwards that I had this Coliseum, but they're good because it gives you like it's 5 happiness faces in modern. Like, I'm telling you, the changes to the scenario are quite valuable because in the base game, Coliseum is just absolute shit. But yeah, like in the future will give me the potential to slave. I'm looking here. Can I get a 30 shields for here? But I think what I realized is I prefer the university. It'd be interesting to do the weight. Um, but yeah, they're both good buildings to have. University gives culture though. I don't really strictly need commerce. Um, but I also have no reasons not to get commerce. So I go here. He actually does have 2 units in the city, which is a pain. Pretty close, but defensive bombard, of course, very powerful in multiplayer. Due to a bug, it scales the number of people in the game. So here is almost enough to kill my marine, and his militia finished the job. At this point, Kyo can come for me next. I do have to be aware of that. I'm going to be starting to recon more frequently. There's also a small risk that Love would just like slam into me at Cairo. If you really caught me off guard there, that could be bad. But oh yeah, I took away his coal, so we can't do any more battalions. Battalions actually, because of the HP, like I said, partisans have defensive bombard, very strong in multiplayer. So normally you might think, sorry, so they do counter battalions do counter partisans because they have enough HP to soak up the bombard. But here actually cut his ability to build partisans unless he gets more coal. Here, trying to get that nuke sub per 3. This barb is actually fucking me right now because I don't want to like. I'm a little sparse on units because I just sent out that boat. Kia could boat me. There's a bunch of places that technically have threat. Love still has a billion units on me. I don't want to like have to attack the barb because I would leave right now. I would leave my cap naked actually. So what I'm gonna do is gonna take the partisan out and kill the barb with my king. I do finally get the ship moves wonder next turn in Rio. Yeah, you see this here. Again, barbarians will always attack something unless there's like a naked worker. They will always attack something that is southeast of them or northwest. I'm abusing that right here so that I don't actually have to go on the mountain with the partisan and I can just put it back in the city. I wanted to hide my king in case somebody spotted that with like a sub or something. But it looked like he had bought the partisan. Or maybe he moved that in because I was slow. Maybe I should have just left the king there and tried to get the city as fast as possible. But yeah, I did that little feint there where like I pretended to move away, but then I go back. Which is annoying. If I just brought more, I would have, like, one more marine easily would have taken that city. Sadly, I did not. Again, so at this point, because I have like Sempal is sorted out with the offshore platform, like it's got its production even if the tiles are blocked. He's also moved some of his infantry into less problematic positions. So I'm actually fine to declare war on Love right now. At this point, it's more like it's awkward to like get the units required to clean him out. Like I have one artillery on hand, but I want it like kind of near. I think I move it to Rio. Like I want it near where Kia might send units. It just kind of locks me in. What I'm seeing now is like if I get coal somehow, then I can do subcruise. So that's one of the reasons I actually wanted Fortaleza and get to get that coal there. It's going to be really hard now because all the coal is in really awkward places, but it's the only res I have the option of getting. There's like 3 coals. Sorry, no, there's literally 4 coals in different positions here and no other res available for me. There's 1 uranium, sorry, but I already have uranium. So, like I said, on its own, uranium gives fighter, it gives marine, it gives nuclear sub. I'm using all of those units, use all the options I have available to me. Coal on its own will give infantry. This is what Love's doing to me. But it'd be nice to have some infantry for myself. It also gives convoy, not really useful in archipelago maps. Convoys are like little, they like hold other units, like the same way that you can like put units in a troop transport. You can put units in a convoy and like run them around the enemy land. Mostly they exist in Pangea maps so that people can't just build a million cities. You can actually punish people if they try to do that with convoys. In archipelago maps, that's not a big deal. All CTON games, free-for-all games, are archipelago. I'm like mapping it out. Like, why the heck does that happen? Look, let's hold up. What happened there? That was not the tile I said to go to. This game was kind of janky. So. I baited myself. Like, in terms of like my decision making is absolutely on point here. But like my unit control, I'm getting like 3 different times getting fucked here. So that's interesting. Yeah, so what I was trying to do here is I'm trying to count out the tiles. That's why I was like spending so long. Um, it's like, can I just put that in the city? Because I think Kia might have subs. If I can just like put the boat in the city, it's safer there. But I don't want that to like cost me a turn because I want to get the coal as soon as possible. There is coal to the east. It's on a hill, so I get the defensive bonus. That's the one I'm going for because that's the fastest. Remember, losing cities is you can lose 4 cities before you die unless you lose your king. So it's kind of like a resource you can spend. So if you do risky things like plant the enemy or like take their cities and you have to hold their cities, you might end up in a position where it's like you're down 2 cities and you really need to chill the fuck out. But if you reach like turn 34 in the game and you haven't lost any cities, you can start to take risks. And that's what I'm doing here. My reasoning is I can start getting kills and things. Or city captures. Of course, you get 60 points for capturing a city. But I do need to have that coal first. So I'm gonna go for the coal. If somebody goes to attack that city, that's fine. That's a them problem. That's a later me problem. But playing without res is a worse risk. And like I said, coal convoy not really useful here because this is an archipelago map. But it gives you infantry. Infantry are good defensive units, which will help defend my cities. Like, for example, the coal city that I want to plant. And it's on an island. It's probably been spotted by Kia. Because I saw his troop transport. But it's on a hill. And with island cities, like, if you're border to border, like in Fortaleza, if I build walls, he could just, like, build artillery and shell down the walls, because it's the first thing the artillery will target. But for island cities, or, like, if you're just scared about being boated in general, or helicoptered, walls actually work really well. because they're not going to have like an artillery on hand to bombard down the walls. 10 shields, 50% combat bonus actually makes a big deal. Okay, so here I moved in the artillery just to be able to bombard this. This is super fucking annoying. Yeah, like he can take my 2 workers there. I'm checking what's in Shanghai just to know his unit composition. If I was at war with Love, I could probably start shelling his land. If I don't that actually never occurred to me. If I would have to do like a bunch of artillery, that I need to shell his land and shell his units in my land at the same time. So I just put 1 marine there. The idea is you never know when you're gonna like pick off a free unit, a free city, especially if you go to like the top of the map. I was gonna try to go around Kia. Kia's a fucking crapshoot. Like sometimes he plays really greedy, sometimes he plays really safe. So it might be worth a shot. But yeah, it doesn't matter how late in the CTON you are. Someone will have naked cities somewhere on the map. So it's just a good idea to put 1 marine on. Not too much of a commitment. And of course, like I said, typically the issue is like, can I hold the city if it's not a size 1? Can I hold it? Because like in multiplayer, you're forced to capture if you're able to capture. Um. So yeah, I'm not sure if I can hold it, but that's okay because I haven't lost any cities yet. Like I said, it's a resource. Having lost how many cities you're down is a resource. At this point, I'm like finally stopping the recon. I'm splitting the fighters to more distant locations so I can scout further out. Oh my god, the fucking RNG here. Like it sucks that like I have the double artillery. Like I played appropriately and I'm being punished for it. It's painful. Did I not think to? Yeah, I really should have. And then instantly I get spotted. I kind of juke him, but it doesn't matter. I do get the Declaration of War though, so I lost 2 units, but again, extra happiness, good for score. Um, Typically it's good for teching. Yeah, like if you're like a government like tradition or freedom where you can actually spend your gold, it's much better. Here, it's not really doing too much. But in theory, it's good value. So now this is a little spooky because Reaver and Kia are the 2 strongest people on the map, and they both presumably know where my res city is going to be. Doing nuke sub per 3 in Sao Paulo, I really want those like powerful ships. You don't want to be using wooden ships at this point. Someone's going to have, if not like a cruiser, like something like a submarine. So plant end of turn so they can't react to it. Instantly switch there. Because I'm planting on coal, the coal gives bonus shields. Even the barbs fucking Yeah, if I had like bombers, I could, yeah, finally. I actually built the marine earlier specifically just so I could deal with the skirm slightly more efficiently. So the way it works is um Partisan's 30 shields, Marine is 25. Marine is a 941, Partisan's an 841, but typically the Partisan's better because it has defensive bombard, and like I said, defensive bombard is very powerful. Typically the advice I give is unless you know you're going to be using the amphibious assault function, if you have the option to build both in the same amount of time, I would say go for Partisan. But here I know I'm going to use the attack function, and I just really want to get him dead, or get that unit dead. Messing with my tile micro, just get the troop transport. Yeah. So at this point, I got the coal. The coal is just hooked now, just instantly from the harbor. So what I'm going to do is slave out some subcruises. And then go for DZ. I didn't even like consider the possibility of going for convoys here. Now that I'm looking at it, maybe it was viable. It like easily gives like I didn't think I had the ability to close the gap on Love's capital without him being alerted. Trying to find like some unit I can spare to this fucking Res City. Yeah. I think my read is that I know he has iron, and it can be a pain in the ass sometimes to get radar artillery. So I think it's like pretty late. If I force him to build a radar artillery instead of like an actual land unit, that's a win. That's how I thought of it. All of my tiles there are covered, so he can't even range anything good with the radar artillery. Subcruise next turn. Okay, I'm kind of relieved to see that Kia doesn't really seem to have any strong coastal cities that I can see. So it means he's gonna have a tougher time contesting naval prio. Generally, um, pop rushing civs have a much harder time with getting naval priority if they do not have a coastal cap than gold rushing civs. If you need like a submarine, you can buy a submarine if you're a gold rushing civ. Um, it's the only very particular windows where it's like good to rush a boat. It can be painful, and you can like only do it once, and then after that, it would be completely fucking your city if you do it again. So yeah, you have more flexibility as a gold rushing civ. Just pay gold, solve the problem. Sometimes as a result, order and equality, the two pop rushing governments, can be a little inflexible. Technically, they're not supposed to talk about this kind of stuff, but it's late enough in the game that, like, if you did that right in the start, it'd be like a dead cue to like a signal to the audience that like, hey, they spawned on an island together. They're really close. They're fighting somebody. If you want to like gang up on them, that's the option you have. So technically, you're not supposed to do that, but it's late enough in the game that I don't think anyone really cares. Okay, again, going for walls here. Wish there was something I could do with that explorer, but sadly not the case. It's had to look for DZ. Yeah, I got the one boat out in case Kia boats me. Still a little spooked. I don't like I'm a little concerned my cap will get cruised somehow. Um, sub cruise or whatever. I'm also scared of the Eastern City. I'm scared about the Res City, and at the same time, like Love has units next to Salvador. He has units next to Fortaleza, next to Belo Horizonte, like next to literally all my other cities. So like I have to. I'm really constrained as to where I put my units. I only get one per turn out of my cap. Although at this point I can start drafting. Remember, I have all that happiness, so I can draft out of my cap. But yeah, I don't realize that at the time. So right now the plan is going next turn with the Marines. Just like put some random crap on that boat, whatever I can spare. Okay, end of turn in case like somebody has a sub around. It's very unlikely. Just numpatting these. Using quick movements with the keyboard is very important for Civ 3 multiplayer. And I'm going to go start a turn. Switching to production of something that gives the wartime bonus. See how important that is when you realize it. Here, I cruise that out. I have the second cruise activated, but it's naked, so it's interesting debate. Like, do you activate the Marine or do you activate the cruise? If you're really sure it's going to be naked, then you'd activate the Marine. Free worker, and then another free city. This is really, really good for me. These are just free points. Um, there's no way he's going to get enough in that city next turn to deal with another cruise plus Marine. Okay, he's really obnoxiously sitting on my beach resort right now. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering why there are oases in the water in modern, they're beach resorts, right? They make your citizens more productive because they just come home refreshed from the resort and everything's okay, right? Yeah, so they give. I wanted the tile that gives extra shields in the water. That's why we put it in the mod. Nothing else made too much sense. There's also pearls. That's why you see the gems in the water. That's okay. When you run out of tiles in cities other than your cap, like don't underestimate. Like often it's like just as good to do police officer rather than use some crap tile. So the police officers reduce corruption, so that increases shields, increases commerce, and because it increases commerce, it actually sometimes increases happiness too because of the happiness slider. So lots of benefits there. Okay, I just instantly have the airport there. He does build this. Um, now that I see it now, I was kind of panicking, like, oh shit, do it fast, kill that boat. I probably just could have taken it with a marine and saved the cruise, but that's okay. 60 points for a cruise, very, very good deal. And that does free up the iron for me. I told you what you can build with coal, what you can build with uranium. Sorry if I didn't clarify this. If you have the explosives tech and you have coal plus uranium, that unlocks subcruises. These are a special type of cruise missile that you can put into certain classes of boats, not into troop transports or galleons or transports, only into nuke subs, cruisers, or Aegis cruisers. So that's what I'm doing with them here. So yeah, like you see how things scale in modern. That like more res you get like exponentially more options and better like more fancy options. I'd say like a lot of your bread and butter will be one res units, but the extra fancy things often require multiple res. Yeah, so iron, what that gives for me, it gives me the RPG Trooper. That's so plus 1 HP, draftable. It's like its stats are pretty weak. It's like 652, 40 shields, but it has it's just decked out with all these extra utility abilities. It's like the utility draftable two mover. So it has the radar ability. It has built-in anti-air. It has plus 1 HP, so that means especially when you draft it, it's really good because your drafts that's like 50% more HP on your draft. What else does it give? There's one more thing it gives. Radar, anti-air, plus 1 HP, and blitz. Yeah, so it's like really good for cleaning up barbs because you can kill two in one turn and farm promotions off them pretty easily. Okay, I finally get a good recon of Love. I see he has like battalions there. It looks like he's well defended. I'm not really interested in going for him. Kind of like eyeing up Kia right now. At this point, I'm like looking for I'm trying to do like a rinse and repeat play on TZ, but I'm getting really confused. I thought this was his mainland, but no, he has like two cities on this random island, and I'm not seeing where he came from. Because like I have the marine ready to go, I have the nuke sub with the sub cruise. If I can just find another city, I can pick one off. Where the hell is? Where did he come from? And like that was really early in the game. There's no res there. He planted that city really early in the game, turned 26 or something. There's no res, and it's that far away from his cap. I was kind of baffled by this. Um, and not to give anything away, but it's good. He's further than you might reasonably expect. Like from what I see here, it's like, oh, he must be just like southwest, pretty clearly on that island over there. Nope, not right there. Complete other direction. Yeah, this is why scouting is good, especially if you can scout early. Like if you just because if you like if I send my my galleon over to Kia, like he knows that I've scouted him, he knows what I've seen. He might even know specifically what tiles I've seen. So he knows like okay, I have to guard those cities pretty well. Oh shit, I get landed. Reinforce. Did that like not go off? No, okay, it did go. It felt like it didn't go off, but I think another one just I had like a second infantry in my cap that just activated. Yeah, so hills, walls, defensive bombard, even against a pretty big stack like that, doing fine. Against like a cruise, if someone landed like that with a cruise missile, I would have trouble. Um, but against like just like a single full galleon like that, it's fine. Again, really confused. Where the fuck is DZ? Trying to find cities to take. When I play modern CTONs, I love getting out on the map. This is like honestly like for my standards probably like a more buildy game than most. I like playing the map a lot, but here I didn't want to fall very far behind, and I didn't have any good coastal cities, and I was like pressure from two directions potentially. So I played pretty safe. But yeah, normally I like marine plays stuff like that. And here I'm finally getting the chance if I can find people. So yeah, like I said, that's why it's important to get map information. If you can do it like and they don't see that you did it, like if you just scout these random islands and you fuck off, like even if like you just see uranium is like, oh, have uranium already, maybe someone else doesn't. Maybe they're gonna plant that uranium and you're instantly gonna know that they're there and they don't know that you know that they're there. So that can be a pretty big benefit to you. Again, having targets is very important, especially like island cities. Very not too bad for equality. So here I'm getting fucked because I already like used some of my reinforces, and Kia's like landing massive doom stacks of part of combat engineers. The boat's fucking me up. Control Shift G will override the stack attack, and you can airlift in while you're being stack attacked too. You see, it's getting very close there. Just using a militia. I'm not sure how much he has, so I'm a little scared. I see the one health unit. I'm scared I'm gonna lose the city, but I keep reinforcing. It's close. I don't want to leave one unit in that city because, like, if Love sees I'm pulling units out, he might try to roll the dice. I do hold though, and that's good because, like, if it's like a landing, they can get back in the boat. But if it's like a helicopter attack, they're just fucking stranded there. I think I decided at this point to put the artillery in, so that if he attacks again, he's just gonna get slaughtered by the artillery. Some of these frigates are like taking a lot of HP off my nuke subs. Nuke subs are not the best combat ship. Like they should like slice up any wooden ship. So like the frigates and the galleons have two defense. Sorry, galleons are called troop transports in modern, so they're a little faster and they hold more units. They're animated as. Oh, sorry. Yeah, those are troop transports. Sorry, I do have the custom graphics for modern. Not all people do. So if you don't have the custom graphics, they'll just look like regular galleons. But here they look like that. Those are troop transports. Yeah, so two defense on the frigate. It's 8 attack, 4 defense on the nuke sub. I think same as the base game. So you should do pretty well. Like it's like attacking a medieval infantry or immortal into a warrior. But sometimes you just randomly lose like 1, 2, 3, 4 HP. Sometimes you just lose the combat entirely because it's Civ 3, you know? That's how it is. So at this point, I'm trying to set up the play. I see all these love cities, lots of juicy targets here. I kind of wish I had more stuff. Yeah, like I kind of wanted to put the infantry in, but I wanted to wait to see if I could bait him into another attack. Didn't work. Like if I could just slaughter him right now. Like I said, the defensive bombard from the artillery is very, very strong. So the defensive bombard from a partisan will typically kill most of the bottom tier units in like an 8-player game, but there's not 8 players anymore because it does scale with number of players in the game. But artillery will pretty much one-shot most things, except for units with like a ton of HP, like a battalion maybe, or the super units. Uh, kind of messed that up. I was supposed to do like the really quick marine move there. Instead, I activated the partisan, which does not have amphibious assault. I don't know if I cruised out the airport, but he might have had a window there where he could have reinforced. But I just came so suddenly. Like the marine subcruise play is a really good combo because you could just do it in the middle of the turn. It's just like suddenly, oh, I have no units in my city. I'm not even like usually end of turn like you're ready, you're paying attention. Middle of turn, you just suddenly get fucked very quickly. It can be a big problem. I see the Aegis. Oh shit. Aegises are pretty expensive. That one is actually worth dumping a cruise onto. So I do that next. Aegises are like 65, 70 shield. You do get the wartime bonus towards them. Subcruise is 40 shields. So I'm trading up in shields if I make that trade. I also like Like I said, I realize it's hard for him to get a bunch of units or a bunch of naval units. So if I can just cruise that out, makes things a lot easier for me. Yeah, you see, I move that over. Again, recon with the fighter. This is why I love modern. I love Civ 3. Look at all these cool different unit interactions. Recon with the fighter, snipe it with the subcruise. Great play. Nope, can't get the airport next turn. Or maybe I can. Yeah, that one I one shot. Sorry. All combat in Civ 3 is always a one shot, strictly speaking. But that one I killed without losing any HP. So Sydney is coastal, but it is the second city, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Canberra is the cap for Australia. Yeah, so I have the iron now. I hooked that colony, or I planted on top of it, I think. So I get RPG troopers. They're a little better than infantry, a bit of an upgrade, not a huge upgrade or anything. Oh, sorry, the fifth thing they can do is airdrop. So they have like 5 different utility abilities if you count the bonus HP. They can't airdrop very far. It's just 6 tiles. But often you can like hop over. Like if you see what Love's doing now, if he had RPGs, he could just like hop over my little wall of units and get onto me. But yeah, great unit RPGs. He just randomly goes to attack here. I'm a little confused by this, but it's like okay. Um, I'm like, oh, I'm fine. So I just clean this up. I'm really confused. Like, why didn't he just do that right after? He would have taken a better trade before I moved all those other units in. But I realize I have too many here, and this is good because he's going for the Doom drop here. Now, it is very good to have this road covered because otherwise he could block the road. Right now, as it is, I can just like, if I have like 2 movers, I can just walk them over. This is why equality actually does need roads. You don't want to be relying on airlifts all game because you can only airlift 1 unit per city per turn. And also, it's just like kind of slow. It's I'm kind of scrambling. Like, fuck, what do I pull? Do the artillery, I guess, because I don't want to leave that city empty. Draft here, put that in. Take the militia. Take one out of. Oh, this one. I guess I could have. I had the unit activated. I was panicking. Put that in. Yeah. This replay is at 1.3 times speed, so I'm not actually this fast in the real game. But yeah. The one with Porto Alegre that was a little closer. This one was fine. But like the faster you enforce, the better trade you can take. Because like by the time like you fire all your defensive bombards straight off the bat, and then their defensive bombards are up, and also you're like defending with damaged units at that point. So yeah, you see here I took a really good trade. I don't know how much that was. Maybe might have been 4 full helis or 4 close to full helis. Yeah, like I'm pulling back that stuff. I'm realizing the coal city's fine. Yeah, I got fucked being landed 2 turns in a row because I didn't have my airlifts up. Uh, at this point, I just want love gone. So yeah, I just declare war. During all that chaos, at some point, Love retook his city. This spooks me, like airlifting that. I'm like, oh shit, he might go for my cap. This city is now the best defended city in my empire, so I'm like, I guess I put my king there. And then he pulls up the boat. Shit, he's got cruises. So block the tile. Don't just guard your cap because the cruises can just blow up everything in your cap. Guard the tile on the way to your cap because then he has to like at least use a cruise missile on that or waste his time attacking. Um, yeah, because I got rid of Love's unit, I can pull the unit of Salvador, leave Salvador empty. He's still trying to go for, I think he actually ended up cruising Rio there. Um, yeah, like he didn't go for my cap there, which is fine because I had plenty there. I think by this point I moved the fighter. But I held on to my nuke sub. Yeah, I wonder what happened there. Nuke sub full HP, or maybe he didn't cruise me. Yeah, like I thought at some point he cruised me and I lost my troop transport. Maybe not though. Some weird movement bug there. I have to use Control Shift G to override the bug, get it in the city. Having this fighter here is nice. I can get far away information. But what's up? If I had like artillery on hand, I'd just cruise out or just blow up this boat. But I do not. Yeah, like you can, like I said, um, the time when you need artillery is like you're not gonna like have the stuff on hand to build it. So like getting artillery when it's easy, when it's good, is the best way to do it. Like even if it's before you need it. It's just like a good thing to have. And like because it's still like artillery is like an extremely effective unit, it's just slow. It gives you guaranteed value, which is very, very valuable. It's just slow at doing what it does. So if you have it up, if you have to wait like 2 turns to get the artillery after like you encounter the threat where you need the artillery, like someone having like a bunch of frigates on you or something like that, or they land you with a bunch of units, or they sitting here with their troop transport like a dick. Yeah. Right now, like I want to clear out Rio. I also want to get this guy off the mountain. Lose that combat. 6 defense, 9 attack, two health. Okay. Kia getting some good rolls here. I do get a good roll there though. So 8 attack on the partisan, 6 defense. I should not, but Kia's being. I should not win that. But Kia's being distracted by other things. Kill the ghost. There are ways of healing ghost units and does give them free vision. Now I have the iron. So with the, I kept the mountain. So what that means is I can get 1 per turn modern troopers, which are really good. RPG troopers are like the mini guys. They're like 652 with +1 HP. Modern troopers are the big beefy boys. So they don't get the bonus HP, but they're like 14, 10. Or 10, 12, 12, 10. We'll see, I guess, when they come up. But they're really good. In the bottom right of the screen, you can see the stat line. Okay, Love is now contesting Naval Prio. I'm a little spooked by that because I didn't see whose boat that was. It's like, is that Senjay? Is that Kia or Reaver coming from me? Love, like, a whatever. Because I know he can't have too much. Especially if he's building subs in his cap. Yeah, so that was one thing that Iron gave me. On its own, in the new patch, it's just Iron for Iron Dome. Iron Dome is the counter cruise unit. Good at protecting yourself there. Yeah, Iron Euro will give you RPGs. Iron Coal gives you Modern Trooper. Expensive unit, but because, like I said, that factory paying off, I have the shields for it. Here I want radar artillery. It's like I want these love units dead because I'm overstretched with my artillery right now. But I guess I have this place set. Do I have the place set up already? I do, yeah. Sorry, I was just passively setting up this play. I didn't mention it. But yeah, like for a while, I've been like planning to go for Shanghai, like a couple cruise missiles, and just 1 Marine to take the city. There it is. That was the fucking. I'm gonna rewind that right there. That was so fucking clean. Check. So in the bottom left panel, you see I click the unit. I have the unit activated before I even show up on the tile. That is really clean stuff. That's what I was trying to do with that attack on Lovebreaker earlier, if it didn't succeed. If I zoom into the city in a sec here, I actually got somehow, because they were government locked buildings, Kia's playing order, but Halu was playing equality. So I actually get all of Halu's buildings here, which is kind of nice. Most of the buildings in Modern are government locked. Fire crews here, combat engineers are beefy boys. They're like, what are they, like 17 or 20, or I can't remember, but probably 8 or 9 defense. They're thick, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, I think I do get the bonus from the radar tower there. At some point, like, I just had extra worker moves, so I just put a radar tower down. I believe it defends against cruise missile hits too. I just like wanted just in case something came up. Having one in Rio would have been really good. But like, yeah, you see, like having unit on the wheat actually probably saved my ass there. I think that one I would have held, but it would have just been really, really close. And I would have lost a lot more. And then maybe I would have actually started losing something to the follow-up attack. So yeah, try to realize like if there's any tile that like choke point tiles, just keep an eye out for those. Look for configurations where like if somebody landed you on the road, that was an accident. Look for configurations where you'd be fucked by that. Okay, yeah, so Reaver is now, he's up 5 cities. I have 3 city takes, 1 off Love, 2 off DZ. DZ had got 2 over the course of the game, but his score is very low. You can check the score in the top right corner. We manually add the we manually add the kill score after the game. So like I said, the way it works is you get 60 points for taking a city that you did not plant, and 60 points for killing someone's king. So yeah, I got these. No, sorry, I have 4 city takes now because I got the Halu city. Kia, I think when I took the city, I declared the city take, and he's like, "Oh, that's not my city though." I was like, "That's fine because it's Halu. As long as it's not a city that you planted, you get the points for it." So me and Kia could, in theory, trade that city back and forth forever, and keep on getting points. But of course, as you do that, there's a 4 city elimination cap. If you lose 4 cities, you just straight up die. So yeah, giving up cities like that is risky. So yeah, so I am up 240 points from the various city takes. Reaver got farming 240 points off a player that early in the game is rare. Typically the way it works is like you get their king, or they just don't have enough cities for you to take all of them. So typically when you get a kill that early, you only get like 60, 120 points. But he got a full 240. So catching Reaver right now will be very, very hard. He's like just natively on score. He's up like 140, and then plus he's up an additional city kill. So yeah, I think I'd need to take like 3 more cities right now, just to be ahead of him. And he looks in a position like he's been building a lot of the game. He looks like he's in a position to, to like keep on taking cities off Kia and keep on getting points. So what happened here is DZ disconnected. Love disconnected, and then he just didn't come back. Storm in Florida, something like that. So we decided to call the game. The way we called the game was Reaver is in first place. I am in second place. Kia might have been having some difficulties there. I think maybe Senji had a chance of catching him. Kia was given third. Senji was given fourth. Weird how like DZ was like up so many points. Like he got 2 city kills off of Senji. But despite that, Senji was like massively, massively ahead in score. Yeah, you can't just turtle. You can't just sit there and turtle. Otherwise, you're gonna place. Yeah, even behind. You can in modern CTON, you can place behind people who die. You can't just sit there and turtle and stay alive. You need to actually be doing things, building cities, trying to grow, trying to take cities off other people in order to place a little higher. So yeah, we decided to call the game when Love didn't return. We gave him 6th. I think Love probably would have placed above DZ. But again, he didn't come back for the reload. So honestly, lucky he got 6th. But that's okay. Yeah, I was happy with the results. There was no way I was going to catch Reaver there. I thought maybe there was a chance, but then I checked the saves. You're going to see the saves in a sec. And I realized there was no chance. Okay, here are the saves. Here's me. Here is Reaver. Reaver is terrifying. 17 pop capital. He's got the O propaganda. This one thing that Order has, he actually got takes. Like he wasn't just he raised the cities off of Avo, he actually took the cities. And when you take cities far away as Order, you can get this. There's like a building that gives you like 17 culture. Order is like very much an early game focus civ, and you can convert that early game focus into a score lead if you take cities that are far away and you build a propaganda in them. So yeah, he's got just like a ton of land area, so he has a ton of score. Yeah, a ton of res. Yeah, factories, everything. DZ's locked on 2 cities. Now this is a mistake. I don't know how he got those cities off of Senjay. But he should have like he's freedom too. Like in a hard 1v1, like sometimes like you scout the wrong direction. No, he only had one way to scout here. He had to have known he was in a 1v1 here against a very scary player. And he did not go for he went for a freedom, which is doesn't make any sense. His land is good. It's good freedom land. But yeah, Order's just gonna do this to you. They're just gonna grow really big, and then just push you into the ground. Kia's a little screwed. I was thinking of going around there to Shubra, so that would have worked, it seems. He's not a quality, so he can't reinforce the city. Sorry, I guess he has helis. So he can reinforce. He does have a lot of units. He's not really in a position to take any of my cities. But he's not really in a position where he would lose any either. Or at least not more than one to Reaver. So that's why I said, like, yeah, I was actually okay with the GG here. It looks like these were set in stone how things would turn out. Love, like I said, he plays very passively towards me. He's expanding very rapidly in other directions. There's the oil I told you that I knew he had. And here's Senjay. And Senjay somehow managed to do like 3 freaking factories. I don't know how on earth this happened. But yeah, like he would have killed DZ eventually. Look at all those fucking units. It just marks him in a stack. Look at these like, how do you do that many like, because he wasn't at war with Halu. Like, there's no, I don't think he was at war with Avo either, because he doesn't have maps of Avo. So he didn't get any out of wars. He just stayed. He never went into wartime. Yeah, DZ, like, DZ dropped the ball a bit here. Like, he played well in other ways, but, and he got 5th, so respectable. But, yeah, like, you should never let Order get triple factory in a position like this. This just should not happen. Like, you're gonna have to play passively as freedom, but yeah, just not that much. Yeah, so you see, like, I highlighted that he was freedom there. Like, what? Like, you're directly, why would you go with freedom in this matchup? You could see it's pretty difficult. Like, if he was any other government, I'd say he can definitely, like, contest the cow uranium city, but he can't, he just can't, because he's, like, not, he's a government where he needs a bunch of buildings at the start. I guess maybe the trade-off was he did a bunch of, like, he did his stock exchange in his cap, and that was the trade-off. But yeah, I cannot believe that how many buildings Senji got away with here. So yeah, that's the game. This is a free-for-all game of Modern. As you see, there's like action all over the map. Very dynamic, lots of kills, lots of city takes, fighting everybody at once. Lots of just interesting unit interactions. I love it so much. I'm glad I could find a game where I have absolutely terrible land and I get to show off my skills. And show off the mod to you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will link the Discord in the description of this video if you want to play some multiplayer with us. CTONs are like a great way to get started because you don't owe anything to anybody. And honestly, if you just like place, that's why I said like DZ like respectable doing 5th because he's a newer player. He gains elo off of placing 5th because he's one of the lower elo players in the lobby. So yeah, really low pressure playing CTON. You can just do what you want. Don't have any teammates badgering you for res and stuff like that. Okay, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next time. Take care.